Hi, good evening, and welcome to the channel of Catholic Go Live. Tonight, we are glad to have all of you here, and we are glad that we have this group of people came from Equip Beyond Success. Tonight, they are going to share with us what is this Reimaging Evangelization and how can we be the salt and light of the earth. So, as we know, when we talk to people, when we try to share Christ, and to try to evangelize, sometimes we do fear of being rejected, or we do not have such skills or skill sets, or facing some sort of challenging obstacles. So tonight we are glad to have Equip team member Beyond Success with us to share more about some tips that it can help us to evangelize more effectively. So let me introduce our guest tonight. First of all, we have Eileen Leong, who is she's the associate trainer Equip Million Leaders Mandate and currently Equip Regional Director, and also East Asia Beyond for the Beyond Success, a transformation leadership movement. Eileen is an international leadership trainer for Equip for more than 12 years. So Eileen is passionate about leadership training and has taken up her to China, India, and countries in Asia. So as an Equip Regional Director of East Asia for this Beyond Success, Eileen aspires to equip leaders to be successful and significant, live a life of purpose, and make a positive difference in the community with a program of Beyond Success. Next, we have Hugh with us. He's a retired educationalist who worked in Singapore for most of his career time, married with two children, and he's passionate about building a just and caring society. So Hugh is also a member of Society of Saint Vincent de Paul for more than 15 years and holding a national office in the society as a national vice president. And Hugh is also the director of Caritas Melaki Johor Diocese since the inception in 2020. And Caritas, as we know, is a new official charity arm to the Catholic churches in Malaysia. And finally, we have Francis Koh with us. He's a cybersecurity professional as I'm same industry as me, and also the head of career development for Digital National Berhad, and has over 29 years of working experience. He worked in companies that is diverse dimension and maturity curves. For example, from startup, SME, and global scale. Diverse experience in terms of industry dimensions and culture, namely financial industry, engineer, high-tech industry, and IT consultation and integration services. Wow. So we are grateful that we have Eileen, Hugh, and Francis with us tonight. And mainly tonight we are going to talk more about how can we be the salt and light of the earth. So without further ado, let me pass the mic to Francis.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking time to join us for this event. Let me share my slide. All right. Now let's start with the definition of evangelization. Yeah. So what when we talk about evangelization, what do you mean by this? Yeah. In the simple term, uh, evangelize simply means introduce or show the person of Jesus to non-believer, to somebody they don't know. Just like you know Hugh and you are so proud and fond of him that you want to introduce to somebody that could be benefited. Very simple act, but it's very difficult to do. Now, let me share, answer this typical question. Why are we hesitant to evangelize? Yeah. So I kind of summarize in three key reasons. First one is fear. Fear of well, in Malaysia we have law that prevent us from preaching to the or share our faith with the Muslim. Yeah, so there are law that prevent us. So we are fear to get into trouble with the authority. Second is we are the minority, and the people that around us where we work, where we play, where we stay, majority are non-Christian, non-Catholic. So we fear whenever we share with them our faith, uh, they may not like it, they may get offended. So that's the first one, fear. Second one is simply we don't know how to do it. We simply don't know how to do it effectively. Yeah? In the past, you had to carry Bible, you had to quote Bible verses, you had to tell people uh, if they believe in Jesus, they are safe. Yeah? But nowadays, this way may not work. Yeah? So, what is the best way of doing it? We're going to talk about it in a while. The third reason is just simply because we haven't internalized enough our faith. I summarize it as we don't have a personal story to share with others. So imagine if you have a good experience in a restaurant on some dishes, you have a good experience when you stay in a holiday resort, you will not hesitate to share. But because sometimes some of us do not have enough personal story, the connection with Jesus, hence we are not able to share it confidently. Now, what can we do about it? Yeah. So I'm going to share from my perspective what is like to be the authentic salt of the earth. Now let's start with talking about salt. Yeah, salt of the earth. What does that mean? Why salt of the earth? So in my understanding, in the simple term, uh, salt in the ancient world being used for two purposes. One is for as a disinfectant to stop bad things from growing. All right. Uh, and another purpose is used as a fertilizer to grow good things. So the salt have two roles. So in my view, um, we can be the salt of the earth by simply being totally different from our environment. Yeah. So salt itself affects the environment simply by being what it is, being a salt, and it's not because it say anything or do anything. Yeah. Now, second part of it is saltness or quality of the salt. Yeah. So quality of the salt is the one that make a difference in the environment that salt is in contact with. Yeah. Now, here I equate uh, saltness, yeah, the quality of the salt, with the virtue that we learn from Jesus, we get from our Bible. I'll use the seven beatitudes. Now, before that, as a Christian, when we live the value and belief of Christ that we get from the Bible, we will be different from the environment. Now, and our belief and value, Christian value, is like a root of a tree that deeply embedded. Yeah, nobody can see it. However, if we truly uh, have a strong value and belief, it will show up. It will show up in our behavior, and it will display through our action. So by simply being different from the environment, our value and belief will show up in our behavior and also our action. Now, what behavior we're talking about? We are talking about the saltness, yeah, the quality that we have as a virtue that we get from the Bible. So I'll use the seven beatitudes. Let me just quickly flick through. Yeah. Now, blessed are the poor in spirit. Yeah. So this is the teaching, the servant of the mount from Jesus. Now, in the world, poor in spirit is not acceptable. You know, in the world that we live in, we need to be confident. Yeah. So being poor in spirit simply means we are relying on God. We fear God. We rely on God. Everything comes from God. Yeah. Second, uh, blessed are those who mourn. Yeah. So again, mourning of what we do wrong, simply we have a contrition. We want to be a better person. But in the world, in the real world, you have to be joyous. Yeah. Next, meek. Blessed are the meek. Meek is always equipped to weak. But in this case, we're talking about being humble. Being humble. In the world that we live in, People only recognize us as aggressive only when we become successful. Yeah. Hunger, hunger and thirst after righteousness in the real world that we have now. You're talking about live with powerful, live in rich, all right? Very different. Merciful, yeah, merciful, being merciful, being able to accommodate people that not very successful, people that make mistakes. Yeah. But in this world that we live in, we are talking about is a very competitive world, survival of the fittest. Yeah. Pure in heart, okay, just simply means no ulterior motive. But in the world we live in, it's the reverse. Peacemaker. In the world that we live in, everybody is a fighter. So if you look at this, the having the quality, the virtue that we get from the Bible, living there and being very, very different from our environment will influence it to our behavior and our action as well. Now, the third bullet point, we're talking about distribution. Yeah? Salt by itself, if no use, you put in the box. It needs to be in contact with the earth before it can function properly. What I mean is, um, as a Christian, we should not be staying in the church in order to do evangelize. We need to be out there in the place where there is no Christian. The earth, you have to be in contact of the earth. Earth is simply means people that are different from us. In the place we work, in the place we stay, in the place we play. We're able to mix with them and show them how different are we, and they will then inquire about it. And then lastly, it just simply means uh, we are not to be changed by the environment we are in. Remember, as we are the minority, it's very easy for us to be influenced and eventually uh, being taken over by the value system that for the world that very different from ours. Yeah. So that's my humble view. I'll now hand over the session to my colleague Hugh to continue with his sharing. Then over to you, Hugh.
Thank you very much, Francis. Uh, Welcome all of you. Right, so I'll be continuing on talking about witnessing today, evangelizing, reimagined, becoming the salt and light. Okay. So what I want to point out to you is this Bible verse, John 13:34-35. So there are two parts here. Verse 34, a new commandment I give you, love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. First part. So this is our value. As I have loved you, Jesus love, you must love one another. This is our core value actually, our love. Verse 35, by this everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. So the knowing that we are Christ's disciples, others knowing about it and by our actions, this is our fulfillment of the Great Commission. Go out and teach people about the gospel, the coming of Christ and the good news, right? So these are the two things that we are told about. So this is also how Jesus wants us to go out and evangelize by loving one another, right? Because when we love one another, we are living the life He wants us to live, being Christian, as we say. So, what do we need to be an effective witness? Right? When we are witnessing through loving one another, we are witnessing ourselves. What do we need to be effective witness? We need to have influence. Be someone that people want to copy or follow. That's what influence means. In other words, short, be a leader. So, how do we become leaders, influencers? So let's check it out. Right? People, as you know, will usually follow those they like. You know, People influence us. I want to be like this person. I want to be like that person. I like them. I like them for one or two reasons. Either they are persons that make us feel valued, or they are persons who add value to our lives. Okay, persons that make us feel valued. That means we feel good with them. We feel that we are valuable persons, and then they add things to our lives to make it better. So, in other words, what kind of person are we talking about? People who care for us. In other words, people who have a good relationship with us. Okay, so people who have a good relationship with us are people we would like to follow. Okay, so how do we develop relationships? Well, the good news is it's a skill, right? Not all of us are naturally good at relationship development, but there is a way to do it. There is a system already developed by John C. Maxwell and managed by Equip that is a good tool to develop relationships and also to add value to others, right? So we learn how to develop relationships and also add value to others, right? Again, here's where we are following the new commandment of God, Jesus for us to love others. Okay, so this is a proven system. It's a tool for personal growth development and leadership development. In fact, both Caritas Melaka Johor Diocese and the National Society of St. Vincent de Paul, both of which, as you know, is our organizations for our action of love by Catholics to others, okay, particularly to the needy, right? Okay, both of them have adopted this system as a tool to develop the people who are with them in their personal development as well as in their leadership development. Okay, so what is this beyond success way? Well, it's a simple system of moving each participant towards intentional living. The keyword here is intentional. You're thinking about it and you're doing something. Okay, this is a very important part. Intentional living, right? And because of this simple system, it was adopted by both SSVP and Caritas because it can be easily done over and over again. Okay. So how does it do it? By creating and strengthening a love-based value system. So why is it important? Because it is strengthening and reinforcing the value of love. Okay, how does it do it? By developing habits for each and every one of us, leading towards authentic friendships with fellow participants. So those that join us in our round tables, right? We actually build a friendship with them as we share among ourselves what is going on, what we're thinking, where we are. We know each other, and because we know each other well, we understand them well, we develop a friendship, right? Because I've always tell everyone, you you can't love someone you don't know, right? So once you know people, when you're sharing authentically, who you are, what your fears are, what your dreams are, you develop a friendship, and this is important. The other one is that it also, while you're developing this friendship and sharing, you have self-acceptance. You accept yourself as you are as a person, your strengths as well as your weaknesses, and you learn how to grow. Once you accept that you have an issue, there are things that you can improve. Then, what are the things you do to grow? So, along the way in the system, we talk about it, we share, and then we move on as individuals, right, to developing ourselves. So, this is an important part as well, right? But because if we are not uh, confident with ourselves, we can't be confident with others. Third, we practice sharing skills, and this is important because when we go out and meet other people, we want to be a leader to influence them, right? If we are unable to share who we are, share what we're thinking about, without talking down to people on an authentic basis, nobody wants to listen to us, right? So we practice this during the roundtable sessions of the system, and then you get better and better at it. Anything you do more and more, you get better and better at. And the last one, of course, we grow our network of friends, because every time you run, the first time you run a round table as a participant, you got one group of friends, maybe 10 friends coming out from there, right? And then the system, to be effective, you will then next go and help other people also in the program, right? Invite other people into the program and help them learn all those skills and everything else there. And with that group, you also now have another set of friends, and it grows as you go and help more and more. It grows. Each time you're helping someone, you're going through those principles again, so you're developing a habit, right? And once these habits become something that you do very often, it becomes part of your life, so you are what you do, right? And that's basically the simple way of the way it works. Okay. And how does this help us in our ministries, right? Well, because the intentional living habits we practice, right, lead to more effective ministry work in two ways. One, because more and more of our friends, people come in, join us, right, who are inclined to like the same things we do and work in the same areas that we work in, for charity and other things in the ministries, right? There are more people now who are also more confident in their leadership, more confident in doing work, more confident in making time to do more things, right? And they are able to organize themselves better and work with others better. So there are more hands to do more ministry. And two, because there are more ministries going on, there are more activities of love going around, right? And being done, right? So it's growing. Your ministries will grow, your activities and people you touch will grow, right? And that's the important thing. And that's one of the key reasons why SSBP, as well as Caritas, is supporting this program, because we've seen it work. Two, especially for ministries where you're working with people, right, and helping the needy in particular, like SSPP and Caritas, right? Those people that we help authentically, so they feel better understood and feel genuinely valued as persons that are being loved, right? And this is important, because a lot of times, even currently, a lot of people are go out to help you, and all that stuff. But the people who are being helped don't feel that we are genuine. They just feel, oh yeah, we are just a number. But by learning how to do things the beyond success way, authentically loving people, right, and showing them, there's a lot of advantage there, because people really feel moved by this. And this is really what we call the pure witnessing. Okay. So let's all sow seeds of love through the witnessing as our Christian living, our values, right? And automatically we will become the salt. It gives taste to our lives and taste to other people's lives as well. And we brighten up this world at the same time. So this is basically what I feel is authentic evangelizing. Okay, so that's my sharing for tonight. And what I'd like to do now is to pass the mic over to Eileen Leong, the Regional Director of East Asia for Equip and Beyond Success. Eileen?
Right. Can you see my screen?
Yep, can.
Okay. Right. So thank you very much, brothers and sisters in Christ, for coming in tonight to listen to us to share about Reimagine Evangelization. I think Francis and Hugh has more or less touched on that, and I will just give my own thoughts in relation to what is reimagining evangelization. I think in the past, we have always have the idea that evangelization is actually strong sharing of Bible verses to convince people the love of Christ, and hoping that they will then embrace Christ as their Lord and Savior. But I think in this time of age, especially with the coming of a season of Advent, it is also very appropriate for us to rethink as to what evangelization is all about. And obviously it is not just about the action part that is going out to share, but it is also about a lifestyle. As I think, if I'm not mistaken, St. Francis used to say that if possible, use words. Otherwise, it's just a lifestyle. And therefore, in this season of Advent, as we know that we have to await the love of Christ will so change the world, maybe it is also timely for us to rethink as to what evangelization is and how to be the authentic salt and light of the earth. So how to be the authentic salt? Actually, simply authentic salt is to, in my context, is to bear good witness for Christ, is to be a strong witness of Christ. And the hope of Evans is the deep knowledge to understand and the confident to know that God is at work in our lives. And not only in our lives and in the life of the world around us, because God is the creator of the world. And therefore, it is this season that we can have the courage, the resilience, and the strength to put into practice. That is the fulfillment of the kingdom, that the people will know us that we are disciples of Jesus because we love one another. The key word actually is love. And to be the authentic salt, obviously, we have to carry the flavor of Christ wherever we go, either be in our home, in our office, even in church and in a community. We should be able to add that flavor of love to people's life. And that is basically what salt is all about, isn't it? That is to add flavor to the food that we are going to eat. Or every day, without salt, as a matter of fact, our food will be tasteless. Therefore, possibly it is also a time of awakening, waiting with hope, to reflect and to rejoice, and to pause and progress, to think out of our comfort zone. And therefore, if we really want to be the authentic sort, we need to change. And of course, when we change, we grow. If we don't change, we don't grow. And growth is essential because improvement doesn't come in comfort zones. Only growth and improvement come from doing something very different in your life, something which you've never done before. And perhaps during this season of Evans, time of Evans, we should then think about what real evangelization is, how to be the authentic sort, and to reflect on what are the things we should be grateful for, the things which the Lord has so blessed us, irrespective of who we are and where we are. And also our hopes for the next year, it is already in November, and 2022 is just around the corner. And maybe by understanding what is to re-evangelize evangelization and to be the authentic sort, we can strategize ways to be the authentic sort and to make a difference in the world by being what you call great witnesses for Christ. Now, Francis mentioned 3 points, I think, pertaining as to why people do not evangelize. He talked about fear. He talked about we are not properly equipped or developed. And he also talked about a lack of our personal stories, encounter with Christ to share with others. But now I have good news for you. Because in Equip, there is a company established by Dr. John C. Maxwell. And those of you who do not know Dr. John C. Maxwell, he is basically the world's #1 leadership expert. And he has been teaching and talking leadership, I think, for decades, since he was a young man at the age of 25. And therefore, he has highly respected and he's hugely popular because he's also an outstanding author, whereby he had written over 100 books and translated it into more than 50 languages throughout the world. And with the previous program set up by Equip, known as the Million Leaders Mandates, John C. Maxwell had literally, through Equip, trained over 6 million leaders in 196 countries. And that is really impactful. And therefore, with this coming of a new age, as we say, that the world is changing so fast. And we know that we, as the people of God, need to step up to really to be the authentic sort, to bring change, or if we may say, to transform the world. And therefore, John C. Maxwell, through Equip, has created a transformational leadership and personal development called Beyond Success. And by the name itself, you can tell that basically Beyond Success is to move from being a leader of success to be a leader of influence, a leader of significance. And what is the difference? I will share with you in a little while. Therefore, if we really want to be authentic salt of the earth and we do not know how, I would like to share with you about Beyond Success. Because Beyond Success is literally transformational and leadership development, which can actually help us to transform ourselves, transform businesses, transform individuals, and also transform whole communities. And why do we need transformation? Well, transformation is necessary because, as John C. Maxwell said, we cannot give what we do not have. And therefore, if we want to so transform the world, transformation must begin with me. And therefore, through Beyond Success, we share good values, whereby we will be able to equip and develop people to intentionally put that values into action and thereby be a big difference maker in the world and to bring positive influence in people's life. And that itself is being the authentic salt because we make a difference. Just like salt will make such a big difference in the flavor of our food. So the key word here is intentionality. And of course, the people of God, we are called by God, or rather commissioned, as one of his laws that we must love our neighbor as ourselves. Loving God, I think, is the easier way because we are very much in tune to God, to the scriptures, and through our prayers. But loving our neighbors as ourselves is another thing. So through Beyond Success, it makes it much easier for us to really love our neighbors because through Beyond Success, we can demonstrate our love for them. And by demonstrating the love, we have to live with the purpose of intentionality. And why is it important to be intentional? Because John C. Maxwell said quite simply, all of us have good intentions, right? We want to be difference makers. We want to change the world. We want to impact the world positively for our Lord. But the question is, if we do not put things into action, if we do not mobilize our intentionality, it will become good intentions or remain to be good intentions. And good intentions are not fruitful and good intentions are not productive because it is just good intentions. And therefore, in Beyond Success and as people of God, we intentionally add value to people, or rather, we intentionally value people. Why is it we need to value people? Because generally, most people feel devalued, and therefore my valuing people, we itself shows them that we love them, we demonstrate love towards them, because quite simply, you cannot value people if you don't see people as important or you don't think that they are people of value. And obviously everyone has value because we are all created in the image of God, and therefore all of us have values. And of course, if we care about each other, we will continue and intentionally add value to people, to make them feel important, to make them feel recognized, to make them feel wanted. And that will make such a big difference in our lives, don't it? Instead of we just being by ourselves and we always feel that we're never good enough for anybody. And secondly, we also intentionally believe in them. We need to believe in them because people are insecure. Generally, people are insecure. And therefore, if we intentionally add value to their life, value them, and begin to trust them, begin to value them, that makes a big difference in their lives. Because in life, we all want to be recognized, we all want to be appreciated. And therefore, feeling that vacuum will make a big difference in everyone's life. And of course, we must also intentionally love them unconditionally. And that is basically the commission which the Lord has for us, is to love them unconditionally. Because basically we are all created by the Lord. So therefore we are created for love, we are created by love, and we are created to love. Because God so loved us that He created all of us to love Him. And it is not just the love between us and the Lord, it is also our love with our neighbors. And that's the reason why He intentionally told us about that we got to love our neighbors as ourselves. Now, let me explain a little bit about the methodology of Beyond Success and how we can actually use Beyond Success to be the authentic salt. Now, the methodology in Beyond Success is simply we train leaders like you to facilitate roundtables. So it is a very simple method. It is basically facilitation, and everybody can do facilitation, right? Because there's no teaching involved. It is just a method to facilitate a group, and then in this particular setup, we encourage sharing in a roundtable setting. And we do this with people who want to improve their lives and also make a difference in people's life. So when we facilitate a roundtable, what happens? We basically encourage people to share our lives, to share our experiences, and that itself is enriching. And therefore, it is like iron sharpening iron, life impacting lives. We'll be able then to add that value into the lives of those people who are around the table. And definitely, we can make a positive difference in their lives. And not only that, it will also actually transform us as well, because we also will benefit from the sharing of others, because it is in sharing that we'll be able to see the values in each other, and we'll be able actually to value life itself, because all of us are able to contribute towards a successful life. So the Beyond Success Roundtables, or we call it Success Roundtables, or sometimes we call it Transformational Roundtables, actually offer a very accessible path to self-improvement. And self-improvement is important because self-improvement is not automatic, as John Maxwell said. It must be intentional. And if we want to be leaders of success, we have to continue to grow. Because when we continue to grow, we will continue to change. And change matures people, and a changed leader changes lives. And hence, it is very important for us to seek personal self development, self improvement, so that we can always be like a river, that wherever we go, we'll be able to give life, we'll be able to be vibrant and energetic and share what we have to others. And by sharing, we'll be able to improve others' lives as well as improve our own lives by listening to others. And then we have the opportunity to build relationships. Now, relationship building is fundamental in evangelization. If there's no relationship, there's no way you can share anything at all, and leave alone to share Christ. And therefore, Pope Francis always encouraged us to ask us to engage with community, which is essential, because that is where our so-called our audience is, right? That is where there will be non-believers who do not know Christ at all, and therefore, by being the authentic salt, we can then connect them to Christ, because then they'll be able to see and taste the love and the flavor of God through us, through our caring, through our adding value to their lives, and through our loving them unconditionally. And at the same time, it also builds communities. Now, community is very important for all of us because we are created for communities. We are not created to be an island. We are created to be a community, to love and care for each other. And therefore, through the roundtable concept, we'll be able to share and what you call sharing and receiving vulnerability, because we are sharing our life experiences. We're sharing about ourselves. And therefore, it is in giving and receiving that we'll be able to build community. And this community can be so strengthened because of our honesty, because of our intentionality to listen and to learn from each other. You'll find that the bonding is very strong. And in community, then we began to realize that we can actually give life to the people around the table. We can actually make a big impact, a positive difference in their lives, and vice versa. And it is through this that we can then build very strong relationships and strong community. And we have already seen the effectiveness of this strategy in other countries. We are already in over 100 countries, and next year we intend to make a bigger impact throughout the world by focusing on every country in the world. And we pray that more people will be able to join us in this kind of a movement to be the authentic sort, so that we can continue to improve people's life and we can see transformation. And when we see transformation, it is evident that we are really the authentic salt and lights for Christ, because we are bearing good witnesses for Him. Now, let me share with you again the structure of Beyond Success. Beyond Success basically is where people share, or rather, John Maxwell share his principles and personal experiences with the people around the table with a 10-minute talk on that particular subject. We have about 6 subjects. We will address each subject, and John C. Maxwell will give a 8 to 10 minutes talk on that particular subject, whereby he will share his leadership principles and he will share his personal experiences. And that is really effective. And at the same time, we also have a notebook whereby we provide people with knowledge and insights to learn. knowledge to learn more about leadership principles, knowledge to learn more about the importance of intentionality, and what it is important to be people focused and value based. And John Maxwell has always been people focused and value based, focusing on people and strongly believe in adding value to anyone who is around us. But what is most important and unique in this transformational leadership and personal development is it challenges people to self evaluate. Now, self evaluate, or we call it in the more spiritual terms, what you call it self reflection, is very important for us because most of the time we compare ourselves with people. And Dr. Roosevelt and President Roosevelt say, comparison is the robber of joy. We should never compare ourselves with people, as John C. Maxwell say. If at all you want to compare, you compare ourselves with the leader we want to be, because comparison will not bring us anywhere, only dissatisfaction. But if we self evaluate or self assess or self reflect, as we say, we'll be able to understand ourselves. We'll be able then to see our own strength and weaknesses. And of course, if we understand our strength and weaknesses, we will also strive to make improvements, either to be a better a person in the area of attitude, or maybe to improve on our, or rather, our weaknesses, to try to downplay our weaknesses. And this is only possible when we are serious in putting it into action, applying action step. And therefore, the curriculum encourages people to take action, because action is everything. Without action, no transformation will ever happen, because here again, it will remain to be just hate knowledge. And hate knowledge will be hate knowledge. It is not fruitful, it is not productive, and will not change us, and will not transform us. And obviously, if we don't change, again, we do not grow, and we do not grow, we cannot be an effective leader, and we cannot be a successful leader or a leader of significance. And beyond success, also will give us the opportunity, as I explained earlier, to build communities. Community is very important, and this structure enable us to build strong communities because, as I say, we open up ourselves to share, and that is also we'll be able to build trust. And as we know, trust is the foundation of leadership, and relationship really cements people. Therefore, intentional living is the pathway to authenticity. To be the authentic salt and light, we must be intentional about it. The first thing is we have to value people. As I've said, you cannot add value to people if we don't value people. But if we value people, then there is a connecting point between us and others. And therefore, it is a bridge whereby we can build relationships. And people will feel appreciated. People will feel kind of accepted for whoever they are. And at the same time, we also intentionally add value to people. And when we add value to people, we also have the opportunity to have positive influence over people. Because John Maxwell subscribed to the view that leadership is influence, nothing more and nothing less. And therefore, if we add value to people, obviously we can have positive influence over them. And positive influence is contagious. When you positively influence someone, that someone will obviously will want to influence another. It is simply like a ripple effect. And before you know, everyone is being influenced positively. And that will evidently brings transformation. And of course, being the authentic salt and light, we must also live good values. After all, good values are from all from the Bible, isn't it? And therefore, we will be able to attract people to who we are by living out good values and by introducing the goodness of the kingdom of God into our community. Because everything good is from God, obviously. And therefore, with good values, people will find us different. And of course, people might want to be like us because we are so different from the rest of the crowd. And therefore, we will be able to attract them to be come into a community, and at the same time to really understand who we are, what we do, why we do. And at the end of the day, it points back to our maker, to Christ our Lord, the creator of heaven and earth. And lastly, we also share good values. Mm. When we share good values, as I mentioned earlier on, we are intentionally making a difference in people's life, adding good values into their lives. And therefore, in the process, will be able to bring transformation into their lives. And when people see transformation, what happens? Again, it is contagious. And obviously, all of us want positive transformation. And therefore, we will be able to bear good witness of Christ by being authentically attract people, value people, connect people, influence people to be transformers as well. And that we will also be able to nurture a culture of sharing and caring, which I'm going to address here. So it is all about values because values are the bridge which truly connects people to each other. And as I've said before, and I'm sure all of you agree, values are kingdom values. All good things are from the Lord. So when we share good values, we are sharing the goodness of the Lord to people. And we have to be people focused and value based. That's what Beyond Success is all about. And we also be able to cultivate strong and good relationships, not only among our own Catholics or Christians, but we will also be able to cultivate strong and good relationship with the people outside our circle. Because what we are doing, transformational leadership, is basically the change circle. The change circle in the round table we talk about, the transformational table, the success table, because it is there where what I will experience something so life changing that I change. Why do I change? Because I self assess, I put into action the plan whereby I want to improve myself. And at the same time, I can also learn from those people who are sharing around the table. I will also share something so life changing that you change, that the people around the table will also change because we learn from each other and we facilitate something so life changing that actually everyone will eventually change. Now, that is transformation. That is authentic salt. That is bearing the good witness of Christ because God Himself is a God of love. Yeah, and by being life changing, we actually share the ingredient of love into people's life. And as 1 Peter 4:18 says, love covers the multitude of sins. Love is so powerful. If at all we can share love everywhere we go, the whole world can be transformed. And of course, everyone will be disciples of Christ. So here in Malaysia, we have actually introduced Beyond Success since 2016, but nothing really much happened because of the pandemic for the past couple of years. But this year, we really went out to intentionally share with people, and many people have come into our fold. And at the same time, we also have a journey of intentionality, whereby, as I say, we want to be the authentic salt. We want to bring transformation to people's life. We want to reimagine evangelization. And that is so simple. It is so simple and yet so effective. Why? Because we don't really need to aggressively share. We just need to live a life of intentionality that is to add value to people's life. So here I would like to just showcase to you what we have done for the past year or so and how we brought Beyond Success to bring transformation in some other people's life and also at the same time bear good witness of love of Christ. So Luke, do you mind if you play the video?
The law of significance simply says one is too small a number to achieve greatness. If you're going to achieve greatness, you got to do it in a group, together, achieving greatness.
It was so amazing because this leadership training program is so different from others because it involves sharing by those in the round table. So that enriching experience really touched my heart, and I felt I should share with my parishioners here in pple. And so I carried out roundtables with the adults but also with the youth. And the feedback is amazing. People feel so enriched and their leadership skills have improved, and they found the program different from other programs they have ever attended or participated.
And I took the next step of introducing this program to my key employees in my company. We scheduled 2 batches in our company. I ask all my key people to attend. And the lessons we have learned from this program are in itself strong foundations in understanding each other as human beings.
After I attended this, a few of my friends actually started up a community service in our area in KL, Pudu, and we started off like adding values to the community besides giving them food, but we actually expanded Beyond Success there.
Setelah mengikuti Beyond Success, cara pandang saya berbeza dan kejayaan itu adalah milik orang seperti saya dan kamu, dan proses untuk menjadi orang yang berjaya itu boleh dipelajari dan kebolehan saya boleh dikembangkan, sikap saya boleh diperbaiki.
这个quit 课程过后，我发现到我自己更了解自己的性格、自己的缺点，然后再加以改善。
It has helped me to understand that we get more things done through our network. Our network is based on relationship and trust. Therefore, looking at positive aspects of people helps the person to achieve their potential, while we build a solid network that will impact society positively. The aim is to add value to people and motivating them to help themselves. Once they see the positive aspects of themselves, that's progress.
Ang isang magandang aral na tutunan ko mula sa Beyond Success ay ang intentional living. Ang pangarap pala natin, hindi lang pinaplano yan, kundi sinasabuhay rin. Yung simpleng pagbati, pagkamusta sa mga tao sa paligid natin ting umaga, ito pala yung papalawak na ng ating impluwensya.
So yeah, we went into this as a couple, and it was very challenging for us. However, it really did open up our eyes into understanding each other better as well as ourselves.
I learned to be more giving. I learned to be more, to value people more, and also to add value to others, to whoever had crossed paths with me. So the important changes I did after attending this class is the 30-second rules, which is to give compliment to others the first 30 seconds when you see them, and also to value people and add value to others.
Before I attended Beyond Success Roundtable session, like what John C. Maxwell said, I was going through life while repairing my past instead of growing through life and preparing for tomorrow. Every lesson had made me re-evaluate my life and to make the necessary changes intentionally. I learned so much from all the sharings from the participants, and I feel so grateful that I'm part of a movement that is making a great impact, a positive impact in people's lives.
The difference between success and significance is very simple. Success is about me. Significance is about others.
Therefore, to be the authentic salt of the earth and light of the world is to be a leader of significance. As John C. Maxwell describes the differences, it's basically success is all about us, where our significance is about others. Thereby, it is teaching us to love our neighbor as ourselves. And therefore, by doing that, we are actually already the authentic salt and light of the world for Christ. And this can be achieved through Beyond Success, because Beyond Success is packed with good leadership principles, good values, and all we need to do is to put them into action. And this we will motivate and encourage people to do so when they participate in Beyond Success. At the same time, we also encourage others to add value to others. Now, as John said, one is too small a number to be great. Great in the sense that it's to do great things for the Lord. If at all we want a real transformation to happen, we really want to change the world, we really want to bring so-called the gospel to the ends of the world, we need to encourage others to do the same. we need to encourage others to add value to people and indirectly be the authentic salt and light of the world as well, because then they will also be radiating the love of God, demonstrating the love of God, and also adding value to people's life by loving them unconditionally. And these are some of the slides which we took in the Pudu area, where you heard a little bit in the video, that basically this is called the Pudu Pantry Community. It started off with only a small group of people. A couple of them did Beyond Success with us, and they took it out to expound on the principles, to put things into action, and you can see the difference it makes now in Pudu. Just before the MCO, that's the kind of crowd they have. Nearly every Sunday, they come around to pick up the dry food. They call it the pantry, and now it has become a community, because not only the people in Pudu are involved, people from the surrounding areas also came to contribute food as well as to help out for distribution. Now that is transformation. That brings positive change in people's life, and that is being authentic salt, because we care about each other. And therefore, what we are doing here Beyond Success, we are also sowing seeds of kindness. And of course, the love is the seeds of kindness, because we show the love of God. And through this video, this Dr. Tan says you can actually count the fruits, the seeds in the fruit, but you can never count the number of fruits in a seed. So, Luke, can you play the video?
Hello again, my name is Lai Yong. My family and I live and work in Yunnan, and we work among leprosy affected, offering wound care as well as rehab. Usually when we go to the village, other than offering health care, medical care, we plant to improve the environment, reduce soil erosion, and also improve farm income. I remember one day bringing flowers, seeds, smaller than this, and 3 cuttings to the village to plant. And when we offered to plant the flowers, the leprosy headman said, no, don't plant. First time I was refused permission to plant. And we were surprised, we were sad, but we accepted his decision. It was his village after all. And then we carried on doing our day's work, cleaning the wounds, taking care of the eyes, looking after the burns. Leprosy patients, their nerves are damaged. They don't feel anymore. They cut themselves and repeated ulcers. Even though they are no longer infectious, people are so afraid of them. So anyway, we just did our work, and at the end of the day, we are packing up to go home. And then this village headman came and said, Dr. Tan, you wanted to plant some things this morning? You can plant them now. You can plant them anywhere. I was surprised. I said, why? What did we do that made you change your mind? Was it our expert wound care? Was it our medicines that we brought? And he says, that is very important, but you drank tea with us. You sat down and ate with us. Your children came and played in our village. We in the leprosy village have not seen children for many years. You trust us. So go ahead and plant every tree, every flower that you brought. Seeds of kindness, acts of kindness begins when we build trust, not when we produce results. It is a continuum. And in days when we face COVID, I feel we really need to anchor ourselves again and look at the seeds of kindness that we need to share around. 2010, when we left China, I remember a leprosy, or we call them ex-leprosy client came and said goodbye. He shook my hand. In leprosy, they have no more tears. Their eyes are dry. And he told me, Chen Yisan, Dr. Tan, I'm crying, but I have no tears. My tears are in my hands. And he shook my hands and said goodbye. So I learned again, afresh, what a mentor taught me about seeds of kindness. You know, you take a fruit, you open it, you can count the number of seeds in one fruit. You can count number of seeds in one pot. But you can never count the number of fruits in one seed. The seed that grows, that sprouts, it can produce 100 more, 1,000 more. So in this time, the odds are against us. I would think that the seeds of kindness will grow. Thank you.
Success that we can be an authentic source of the earth and light, not only by sowing seeds of kindness, we are also sowing seeds of love into people's life. And like the parable of the sower, it says that if it's planted or sowed in the fertile ground, it will bring forth 30-fold, 60-fold, 100-fold. And like the parable of the growing seed in the Gospel of Mark, we never know how it's being done. That is the grace of God. But eventually, it will bring forth a great harvest. And therefore, at Beyond Success, we are actually sowing seeds of love, planting good seeds, hopefully into good soil. And you can never underestimate the power of a planted seed. As Dr. San says, you can count the number of seeds in the fruit, but you can never count the number of fruits in a seed. So we just basically have to go on sowing good seeds into people's life. And therefore, my question to you, my challenge to you tonight is this: will you be the authentic salt of the earth and light of the world and reimagine evangelization with Beyond Success? And as Dr. John C. Maxwell said, everything worthwhile is uphill. We have to move from our comfort zone to do something different, because if you do the same things, you get the same results. And therefore, we need to be different. We need to surrender our comfort zone to do something which we've never done before. And if you really want to be an authentic salt, maybe you can try to do Beyond Success with us. And whoever is interested, you can contact me at this phone number, or we can give the email to Luke, and you can contact Catholic Go Live for our email for further information on Beyond Success. And I would like to close this reimagine evangelization being the authentic salt of the world by a prayer of St. Ignatius of Loyola, which says, "The teach us, O Lord, to be generous." So teach us, O Lord, to be generous, to serve you as you deserve, to give and not to count the cost, to fight and not to heed the wound, to toil and not to ask for rest, and to labor and not to ask for reward, just in knowing that we are doing your most perfect will. And therefore, it is my prayer that all of us will learn to give without asking the cost. Will learn to be generous for the Lord, because the Lord has been so good to each and every one of us. And therefore, let us all be the authentic sort and reimagine evangelization by participating in Beyond Success. We will all welcome you to truly indeed to be the transformer for your family, transformational for church, transformer for your community, and hopefully transformer for our country, Malaysia. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you once again, Eileen. Thanks to Hugh and also Francis for sharing with us tonight. I think our audiences actually gain a lot of new insights from your sharing. And to be frank, I also this is also my first encounter and my first experience getting to know this Beyond Success. It's actually a leadership training that actually can help us to actually grow, be more confident in, be it evangelization work or in our daily life. So I think we would like to invite some questions from the audience. If you have any questions, any burning questions that you would like to ask our panels, please feel free to type in the live chat panel so that we can actually further discuss. And also, we would like to ask the panel, since we know that this program will be conducted in English. So what if my English is not so well, or I prefer some other languages? Is there such a channel for me to actually participate in this Beyond Success?
Yeah, I'll take the question. Yes, we have actually translated our notebooks into Bahasa. We have it in Mandarin as well, in Tamil. And Father Philip, who was in the video, had actually translated into Iban. So you can also have it in Iban for Miri. So we have about 4 languages. And if you are in other parts of the world, we also have it in other languages as well. So do let us know what you need. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. So, in this kind of pandemic situation, how can we actually engage? How can we be part of the program and register for it? Is there any way that we can join the program?
Would Hugh and Francis like to take this? I don't want to take all the questions. Would you like to take one of these questions? Yeah, it's very simple. You can answer this question. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me try.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
There
Okay.
are roundtables being run all over the place in the whole of Peninsular Malaysia and East Malaysia, right? What you can do is we can use one central contact point. You can call Eileen at this number 017-8893-990, and she will get you in touch with one of the roundtables that are being run near you, right? It's now during this pandemic, a lot of it is being run online, so it's wonderful. You can do it right from your home.
Francis,
Yeah.
you
So
like to add?
not forgetting as well. We also have a social media presence Beyond Success Malaysia on Facebook and also on Instagram. So they can also reach out to us and they can register to our Google form and we will then slot them to the relevant schedule that we have.
Yeah, thank
And
you,
I
thank
have
you.
good news for people. Look, just add a little bit.
Sure,
I have
sure.
good news for people outside Singapore and Malaysia because I have also taken it to East Asia because I'm the regional director of East Asia. So we are also in about 8 to 10 other countries like Vietnam, Cambodia, of course Singapore, and then we have Nepal, Myanmar, um, going to Japan and Korea, as well as Laos and Vietnam as well. So we are in at the Philippines. So we're into all these countries plus Indonesia. So we're in 10 countries in this part of the world. So we have all translated into their local languages, and you can have access. Just contact me, and I'll put you to the right people. Thank
Yeah,
you.
sure. Yeah, we have an audience actually make a remark to thank all of you for this wonderful message that you brought to us today. And also, we'd like to ask because we heard that it's based on Christian teaching. So, what if we are not a Christian believer or I'm not a Catholic? Is it suitable for me to attend?
Yes, Luke. Yeah, just to make a bit of correction, this is not Christian teaching. Beyond Success is all about leadership principles, leadership values. Therefore, we do not have any scriptural references at all. What we're sharing here, because we are addressing a Catholic audience, so you'll be putting into context with our scriptures, but the actual Beyond Success is mainly for people who like to be successful leaders and eventually move to be leaders of significance. So therefore, we do not share any biblical content at all. It is purely a leadership principles and values by Dr. John C. Maxwell.
See, thank you for your sharing. Once again, I would like to thank Eileen, Hugh, and Francis for spending an hour plus time today with us to share about this wonderful leadership training that all of us can actually take part. So we would like to close this program because I think it's running late. I think tomorrow there are still people are working. So if you have any other question, would like to check with us, would like to address to the panel, you can always leave a comment down there on our YouTube, or you can visit their social media channels that you can keep in touch with them and to get more information from there. So with this, we like to thank all of you. Stay with us tonight, and we hope to see you on the next program. Do remember to subscribe and share the video tonight with your friends. Thank you. Good night. Bye bye.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for
Bye.
coming. Thank you, Liu, for putting this together. And of course, our gratitude to the Lord to allow us to be part of this wonderful event. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
God bless
Amen.
you.
God
Blessed
bless.
Edmund.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye bye. God bless.
Thank you. Bye.